Just when you thought Malcolm Turnbull's excesses couldn't get any worse, this green globalist sellout to Australian interests has just done it again. And this time I'm actually reporting from the ABC News website, and even they are critical of him. And here it is, Malcolm Turnbull accused of captain's call over $444 million in Great Barrier Reef funding. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has been accused of making a captain's call over a controversial decision to give nearly $500 million to a small Great Barrier Reef charity after it emerged there were no departmental officials at a key meeting the Prime Minister attended. In April, the federal government announced it would provide the Great Barrier Reef Foundation with $444 million to fund projects to improve the health of the reef. The foundation is supported by companies including BHP, Qantas and Rio Tinto, and had 6 staff at the time it won the funding. This week, a Senate inquiry examining how funds were awarded, the foundation's managing director, Anna Marsden, said that the first time the charity became aware of the government's intention was in early April at a meeting. She said the meeting involved the foundation's chairman, John Schubert, Mr Turnbull, Environment Minister Joss Frydenberg, and the Secretary of the Environment and Energy Department, Finn Pratt. We were informed that there was an allocation being announced in the upcoming federal budget, and they would like to invite the foundation to form a partnership with Reef Trust to distribute these funds. In a hearing, I stated that the Secretary of the Department of Environment and Energy, Mr Finn Pratt, attended the meeting with our chair on the 9th of April 2018. This is incorrect. Mr Pratt was not present in this meeting, the letter states. The chair of the inquiry, Green Senator Peter Wilson, said the absence of any departmental officials at the meeting was alarming. The process looks like a captain's call. It looks like a scam, he said. We've never heard of a process where the recipient of $500 million of taxpayers' money gets it from the Prime Minister in a secret meeting without even having asked for it in the first place. Later, Senator Christina Keneally also sits on the inquiry and said she was concerned that there were no departmental officials at an important moment in the decision-making process. It also worries me that the Prime Minister seems to have gone into a meeting without any public service advice, she said. What advice he did have from the department that was the right approach for the Great Barrier Reef. The Prime Minister's office referred queries about the meeting to Mr Frydenberg's office. Great hand pass. Mr Frydenberg defended the funding decision and said the government had been completely open. He would, wouldn't he? Frydenberg is totally behind the National Energy Guarantee, which is a total dog. UN wants good news on migrants. A major UN pact on migration commits governments to introduce programs aimed at sensitising and educating the media and withholding public funding from publications that promote intolerance of immigrants. Meanwhile, Switzerland has hit back after Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton declared Australia would not sign the compact as it stands, contradicting his suggestion it would undermine national sovereignty. UN member states led by Mexico and Switzerland helped negotiate the compact, and the final text suggests it could pressure Canberra to review its immigration detention policies. The education program for those in the media, which would extend to their terminology, is outlined in paragraph 33 of the final draft of the Global Compact for Migration, which commits governments to shape perceptions of migration. Compact requires governments to shape perceptions of migration by promoting evidence-based public discourse. While some media outlets would lose public funding under the compact, it also requires governments to invest in advertising and ethical reporting standards. Yeah, right. So basically, it's mind control. It's going to basically push the migration message at the expense of any dissent. It says these steps should be taken in order to promote independent, objective and quality reporting in full respect for the freedom of the media, as long as the message is the message they want to promote. The final draft of the compact, dated July 11th, was published by the UN's International Organization for Migration. And finally, we have the National Energy Guarantee, guaranteed to keep the price of electricity going up in this country because it's preventing the development of cheap coal-fired power. Energy Minister Josh Frydenberg, yep, him again, by 2030, 28 to 36% of electricity generation will be from renewable energy, including 24 intermittent wind, solar, etc., with the rest coming from hydropower. The NEG will ensure Australia's Paris Climate Treaty commitments are met. Abolition of the limited merits review will make it harder for energy companies to game the system by getting loans to build unnecessary infrastructure. What it basically means, we're tied up with international agreements yet again, destroying Australia's own sovereignty. This government doesn't give a rat's about our sovereignty here. They basically just want to make us a small part of a global player where all the decisions are made overseas by a corrupt UN. This is not good enough. Turnbull has to go, Frydenberg needs to go, and quite a few other ministers should probably also start thinking about finding other jobs. This is a disgrace. Oh, just one last thing I forgot to mention. That total wanker Turnbull has advertised for yet another staff member. This time the position is for Policy Advisor on Thought Leadership. I'll repeat that. Policy Advisor on Thought Leadership. What in the hell is that? As if you'd have any idea of what leadership or thinking is. This is pathetic. I guess they're also on about $250,000. So that's where all our money's going, wasted on these useless advisors who aren't exactly digging Mal out of his hole. So keep spending the money, Mal, while you're there, because I hope it isn't much longer, because I've had a gut full of you, and I'll tell you, a lot of other Australians feel exactly the same way. Just piss off and leave us alone, and just live in your grubby little castle in Point Piper. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.